All right, welcome everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Martha Shapiro, and I am the Director of Programs for Senior Concerns. And I'm so happy that you're joining us today to learn about our new program that we're launching called Think Fit. We are really excited about it and happy to share some of the details with you. I first want to take a minute to thank Kalila Heller and Tammy Podell from Assisted Living Connections for coordinating this for us today. And we so appreciate getting the message out and those of you that can join us today. I will be recording this as well in case anybody misses it and wants a chance to review it afterwards. Joining me today is Hannah Hoffman. I will let Hannah introduce herself.
Hello, my name is Hannah Hoffman. I am a team lead at Senior Concerns, and I'm really excited to get this program going and lead the Think Fit. Thank you so much.
Excellent. So we are doing this seminar today in webinar mode. So that means that all of you in the audience are in listen-only mode. So we can't see you, but we'd still love to hear from you. So as questions come up, there is a Q&A box. You are welcome to type them in and we'll either answer them as we go, or if we aren't able to see them, we'll answer at the end. So please feel free to type in questions as they come up. Okay, so this is my first time doing a poll, and I'm really excited about it. So my first poll question to you is, are you worried about memory loss? Yes or no? Normally I give presentations like this in person, and I ask people to raise their hands, and usually it's a whole bunch of hands. So this is my way of getting to see your hands in this webinar format. So I can see everybody saying yes. No one says no so far. And this is generally how it goes. People are very fearful about memory loss. I'll go ahead and end this poll. We get the gist of it, but this was fun. Oh, I can share the results. There we go, 100%. Close that out. We know that Alzheimer's disease is the most feared illness of people who are over the age of 65. 1 in 9 people over the age of 65 have Alzheimer's disease, according to a recent survey. It is a huge concern of people, but one that often gets in the way of our functioning, and one that we're often scared to even talk to our doctor about because we don't necessarily want to know the results of it. This Think Fit program is designed to really address all of the issues that come around worrying about your memory loss. So Alzheimer's disease specifically has a lot of complex factors that can increase your risk of developing the disease. So some of them have to do with your genetics, others have to do with your age and your environment, your lifestyle, and some coexisting medical conditions. So certain things we have no control over. I can't change your genetics. However, when you look at all of the things that increase your risk of developing Alzheimer's disease or dementia, many of them are things that we do have control over. So we can control our blood pressure, our ability to exercise, our diet, social isolation, stress, lack of mental stimulation. These things are correlated with a higher risk of Alzheimer's. That doesn't mean that you will necessarily automatically get it, but it means it's increasing your risk. So if you have the ability to do something to decrease your risk of developing Alzheimer's disease, then this is your chance. This is your chance to take a more proactive approach to reduce your risk factors. Sometimes it's hard to understand the difference between the normal aging process and slowdown of memory recall and something that's indicative of an illness like Alzheimer's disease or dementia. So we'll talk about, have you noticed changes in your memory, like difficulty finding the right words, or recalling things, or misplacing items? There can be a lot of different reasons that we start to have these issues, and we don't want to be afraid to understand what's behind them so that we can make a change in our day-to-day life. So we put this up on our website as a way to help you know if the ThinkFit program might be right for you. So generally we say if you can answer yes to 3 or more, this program could benefit you. But I would say, even if you just answered yes to the first question, I worry often about memory loss, this program can really help you. That worry can actually create more issues with our recall and increase our stress. And anything we do to reduce our stress will benefit our overall health. So just if it's an overall worry that's really putting a shadow on your day-to-day, this program can really help empower you. I often misplace things and have trouble finding them. I get frustrated when I cannot recall words or names. Now, the truth is, lots of us can't often recall words or names. We'll say, you know that movie, the one with the actor who was in the other movie with the boat? People do that all the time, and we don't think anything of it. We think it's funny, and usually we even know what actor they're talking about. But when it becomes something that's really frustrating and upsetting to you, that's when we want to address it. If somebody has been diagnosed with mild cognitive impairment, this is a great program to get ahead now that you're on that cusp of having some memory loss and really make some positive changes in your life. I have asked my doctor to test my memory. That's a sign that you have that worry about your memory. And doing cognitive testing regularly so that the doctor has a baseline and can monitor you is excellent. But if you're having those concerns, this is a great program for you. My loved one has noticed a change in my memory. Oftentimes, it is the people around us who point things out to us, and that's how we notice them first. Or I've stopped engaging in some of my social activities because of my memory loss. This is very common, and probably one of the worst things you can do for your memory is to remove yourself from social situations. But we also want to make sure that you're comfortable and that those social situations aren't just causing you a lot of stress and anxiety. And then finally, I want to do something proactive for my brain health. That is 100% what this ThinkFit program is, something proactive for your brain health. And hopefully by the end of our discussion today, you'll really understand what it is that you have the power to do to positively change your brain and your memory. This is our overall ad for the program. The ThinkFit program is really designed to be it's a live online evidence-informed fitness program for your mind and memory. So we would love to do it in person, but right now is not the time. So we'll be providing this program over the Zoom format, and it will be twice a week for 2 hours each session. So it's 4 hours a week of live sessions over Zoom, being reinforced by activities and tasks and follow-up that you're expected to do in between the live sessions so that you're really reinforcing what you're learning and making some changes into your everyday life to increase your health. So I wanted to just backtrack and tell you a little bit about how we came to design this program. I am a social worker working in the field of aging for 15 plus years. And I work with a lot of families that are caring for somebody with dementia. And most recently, here at Senior Concerns, running our adult daycare program. And this program was geared for people that have dementia, cognitive impairment, that wanted to come and do something active, social, and really beneficial for them and their family. But oftentimes I would meet with families who were not diagnosed yet, who had a real fear of their memory, maybe some mild cognitive impairment or a very early diagnosis. And they wanted to jump on it and do something really proactive for themselves so that they didn't feel that they were just waiting now for the progression. This was their chance to do something beneficial for themselves. So they would come in to tour the day program, but the day program wouldn't be the most appropriate for them. typically because the people in the program were a little more progressed in their dementia. And I always wanted to have something to offer to this population, that group of people that were on the cusp of memory loss, that had that worry, and that wanted to take this time to do something to help slow the progress, to help benefit their overall health, and do everything they can for their mind and memory. So this has been sort of a dream of mine for years. I've thought of it. And then when COVID hit, everything changed here at Senior Concerns. And we had to temporarily close the doors of our adult daycare program and really look at reimagining our programs here and what we can do to benefit the community. And so I saw this as an opportunity to take the time to put the research in and really develop an excellent, evidence-informed program for your mind and memory, for that group of people that are on the cusp, that are worrying, that want to take the chance to do something proactive. So Hannah and I really worked together to put a lot of research in, and the screen that you're looking at are all the areas of functioning that we saw, based on research, affect the brain and the memory, and that we wanted to incorporate into this program so that this hits every area of functioning. So we'll focus on memory training. We will learn how to do some actual memory training programs for ourselves, how to practice tips and access all the different areas of memory in our brain. We will work on stress reduction because that is so important for our overall functioning. We'll discuss physical fitness and make sure that's something that's included in your daily routine. Socialization is so important, and during COVID that has changed. Typically for most people it's really reduced, and maybe you're being creative and finding ways to keep it in your life, and that's fabulous, but it might not be the same as what it looked like before, so we want to address that. We will talk about diet because that is so connected to our overall health, and cognitive stimulation. We'll also work on really implementing some tools and tips into our home life so that if there is a progression of memory loss in the future, we are as set up as best as we can be to manage it in the best way possible. I will turn it over to Hannah to talk a little bit more about the enrollment process.
All right, so prior to enrolling into our Think Fit program, we'll do a one-on-one assessment over Zoom. I want to understand your goals, your motivations, and this will also include assessments for mood, life satisfaction, interests, and current cognitive functioning. And this will provide a baseline so we can reevaluate in 3 to 6 months. This will be a personal assessment. I want it to ensure that the program is the best fit for you, and it will also allow us to customize the program to your interests and needs. Basically, I want to make sure that this is the right fit for you.
Absolutely. And then if it is the right fit, then you enroll in the program, and this is a program with a monthly fee, so I did want to review the cost. Oops. So this program has a monthly fee of $350. We are hoping to start our first cohort class in December, so we are offering $50 off the first month for people that want to join that first group. So this is a month-to-month cost. However, we really encourage planning on committing to at least 6 months of participation so that you can really see the maximum benefits of this program. So I know at first here, sometimes that overall monthly fee can sound like a larger cost, but we felt it was best to set it up as a monthly fee so you understand really exactly what that looks like for your finances. But when you break it down, it's only about $43 for the 2-hour class. So when you compare that to other types of classes, seminars, even fitness programs, it's really very reasonable. And ideally, this is a program that is, it's 4 hours of live instruction per week, but it's more than that. It's lifestyle changes. It's things that you incorporate in between the classes, and it's accountability to your cohort. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about all the aspects of the program, but I do want to make a point to say that if you're seeing this and you're thinking, well, that just doesn't fit into my finances, please stay on and listen, because we'll go into some details about all the different components of the program with some tips that you can incorporate into your day-to-day life. I'll let Hannah review the schedule.
All right, so our schedule will have, like Martha had said, it'll be 2 days per week, 2 hours each session, so 4 hours per week. So first, during the session, we'll start with a check-in, see how everybody's doing, if there's anything we're working on or any progress we've made. And then we'll do a quick exercise, and we'll move on to have an expert speaker at least once a week. And these topics will, be diet, exercise, about cognition. It will really talk about all aspects of the program. And then after the expert topic, we'll move into memory training and do this is where we'll actually do not the games, but this is where we will do the memory training. And then we'll move on to the socialization. Each time we will have a process group where we can talk about the expert topic that we heard. We can talk about our goals, talk about where we are on meeting our goals, and really get to know each other. And then we'll move on to homework assignments, but really what this will be a reinforcement activities, so you can take what you're learning in ThinkFit and put it into your daily life. And then we'll move on to a stress reduction. We'll end each session with a stress reduction activity, so we can move into the rest of our day and our week with a clear mind. And I believe I will move this over to Martha for memory training.
Wonderful. So that kind of gives you the overview of the way that we're designing the class. So I'm going to go through each topic in a little bit more detail. So one, of course, is direct memory training. And it is really amazing how the brain can reorganize itself by forming new neural connections. So by really participating in mentally stimulating activities, we can help maintain and improve our cognitive and functional abilities. So like I mentioned before, there's all different areas of the memory. And the key is that we want to address every area in different ways so that we're really stimulating as much as possible to get those neural connections firing. So certainly we are more familiar with our long-term memory. It's our brain system for storing, managing, and retrieving information. So we can do a lot to access the long-term memory. We do, specifically, we consider that to be what lasts the longest. Short-term memory tends to be what we lose first. So being able to access the long-term memories can build our confidence. We can do some reminiscing type activities and trivia that pulls into that long-term memory. Short-term memory is what often goes first. So we like to work on using tools and prompts to help reinforce the short-term memory. So one of the key overall themes is reducing our stress, because as we'll talk about, stress is sort of the enemy of our memory. So we want to work on reducing that. So if there's something that we learn that you're struggling with, like for example, many of us we forget our masks when we go out. That's not part of our long-term memory because we never had to use them before. So you get out to your car or you get to where you're going and you're so frustrated with yourself. We want to reduce that. So we can talk about tools by putting a sign by your door, keeping an extra one in your glove compartment. There's no reason that we need to put ourselves through the stress and feeling like we need to be testing ourselves all the time. We want to put as much in the environment to help support us and make our life easier as possible. Explicit memory, that's information that you consciously have to work to remember. It's also called declarative memory. So these are the types of things that we would study in school, like remembering that the capital of France is Paris. This is something that you can work on using, repetitive saying it out loud. Oh, my other computer is talking to me. Can you hear it? Okay, good. So we can work on tips to actually strengthen that type of memory. We can work on our explicit memory by doing something with our experiences, like talking about them, writing them down. The more that you do this, the better that you'll remember them. And then the implicit memory are things that are unconscious to you, that happen just naturally, and they might have an effect more on your behavior. So you can access it without even thinking about it. And then there's procedural memory, that are the types of things that we just naturally know. We remember them, we retain them really easily, like riding a bike or driving a car, brushing our teeth. I see them. So the question came in, does strengthening one area of memory affect the other aspects of memory? Yes and no. In some ways, I really feel that by strengthening any one thing, because it's going to increase our confidence in ourselves, you will see an effect in every area. However, no, they are different areas of the brain, so they aren't directly related in that way. But we want to strengthen the areas that we can and find other tools for the areas that we're struggling with. And then, of course, the autobiographical memory. Those are just what makes us who we are, like the fact that we like ice cream or our favorite color. Or I always say for me that I like chocolate because that's a definitive part about me. Everybody knows. So we can really tap into those types of things and increase our confidence in ourselves at the same time. Diet. Some of us may not want to deal with it, but frankly, diet is huge in impacting our brain health. We know studies show that inflammatory diets that are high in sugar, refined carbs, unhealthy fats, and processed foods, they can contribute to impaired memory and learning. They can also increase our risk of other diseases, like Alzheimer's and dementia, and diseases that that contribute to our risk factors for Alzheimer's and dementia, like our high cholesterol, diabetes, things like that. So one of the diets that we will be focusing on is called the MIND diet. The reason we focus so much on this diet is because it's the only one that studies have shown that by following it, it lowers the risk of developing Alzheimer's disease by as much as 53%. That is huge. And one of the best things is that the studies show that even if you don't follow it rigorously, but just follow it moderately, it can still reduce your risk of developing Alzheimer's disease by about 35%. So the benefit is there. And I think one thing that often happens to people when we're dealing with our diet is that as soon as we slip up a little bit, we just give up on ourselves and we just go for it. But this is really proof that you don't want to give up. You want to make the changes that you can realistically and comfortably, and do as much as you can, but know that the changes you're making are making a positive impact on your brain health. So the MIND diet features 15 main dietary components, the 10 healthy food groups and the 5 non-healthy food groups. So healthy food groups tend to be things that we already know, the green leafy vegetables, berries, beans, whole grains, fish. It even allows for 1 glass of wine per day. And then the unhealthy things to avoid: red meats, butter, cheese, pastries and sweets, fried or fast foods. I know it's hard, but we all know we need to avoid them as much as possible, right? Reducing them will make a difference, even if you're not going to be able to avoid them altogether. That's okay. So we'll really take some time to not just understand what changes we need to make, but understand the reasoning behind them. Because I think when people really understand that, it's easier to make some of those changes. Cognitive stimulation, we will be addressing this directly. This is engaging activities that really challenge our ability to think, and they can help you maintain your brain and cognitive abilities, including your memory, your thinking, attention, and reasoning skills as you age. So one of the keys here is to challenge your brain in a new way. So the example here is brush your teeth with your opposite than dominant hand. So our procedural memory tells us how to brush our teeth. But by changing that up, it forces us to think and focus on what we're doing, and that's what gets those neurons firing in our brain. And that's important. We also will focus on that attention span, right? Because a lot of times we're forgetting things simply because we are not focusing our attention. How many times have you been at a function and you're introduced to somebody and you turn around and 2 seconds later you have no idea what their name is? It's not because you don't have the ability to retain that name. It's that you're not focusing your attention because there's so much going on around you. You might have remembered what color their sweater is or some other feature, but you weren't focusing on the name. So we can practice that type of attention focusing to help us increase our memory retention. So lots of us have hobbies that we do. We might even be engaging in hobbies that we, with the purpose of stimulating our mind, like doing Sudokus or word games. But if we're doing the same type of word game every time, it's actually decreasing its ability to help your brain. You want to switch up and do different types of activities that challenge you in a new way. And then physical fitness, of course, we do all know how important this is. It actually increases the oxygen to your brain and reduces the risk of other health disorders that can increase your risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. And it also really reduces those stress hormones. Ideally, physical fitness would be done in groups and include that social component. It is a little bit harder to do that now, although even over Zoom, you can get the social component. And lots of centers are opening up outdoor exercise programs with social distancing, so that could be a great option for you. In the Think Fit class, we will incorporate one section of exercise to get us started, to get our bodies moving so that our brain is ready to learn. But we'll also talk about how you're incorporating it into your day-to-day life, and we'll encourage each other to increase and challenge ourselves. We'll talk about the different types of exercise that have studies about how they help our memory and how they help us as they age. We'll talk about yoga practices and Tai Chi, and we'll teach you about a newer evidence-based exercise program called the Ageless Grace Program for your body and mind that actually connects the way that our brain works with the way that our body moves. So we'll be talking each week about a different type of exercise so that you can find what works best for you. And socialization, this is of course very important. Now that COVID has changed the way that people socialize, a lot of people have reduced their socialization time in their day-to-day life. But research really shows that by interacting with others, we are training our brains. Having that back and forth conversation where you don't know what the person's going to say, so you can't anticipate what you're going to say, you have to react in the moment, is wonderful. It's one of the best things that you can do for your mind and memory. It actually improves the memory formation and recall and protects the brain from neurodegenerative diseases. So we've incorporated into ThinkFit time for a process group, and that will allow the group time to share their feelings in a safe space with people who might have some of their similar concerns, any of their worries or thoughts on their memory issues. It's an open discussion time, but guided in a gentle way by the facilitator. And it's creating a community. So each ThinkFit class cohort will be between maybe 6 and 12 people. So we try to keep it relatively small so you really get to know each other and you create a community within this class. Stress reduction, of course, is so important. I have one last poll. This is me practicing launching polls. So do you practice stress relieving exercises? And that might include breathing techniques, mindfulness, meditation as part of your daily routine. Yes, no, or I try but not always. I find I tend to fall into the I try but not always. And then I'm constantly reminded why I need to be better.
Me too.
Absolutely. So let's see. We have 1 yes and 2 no's. Let's see if I end the polling and then share the results. So leaning more towards the no side. And I'm going to let Hannah explain more about why this is something we should all be moving up on our priority list.
All right, so stress, it can inhibit the way we form and retrieve our memories, and it can actually affect how our memory works. There's many things you can do to improve your memory when stressed, and fortunately, these techniques actually assist with managing stress. So stress not only affects the memory, but also mood, anxiety, and it also promotes inflammation, which adversely affects our heart health. Our brain isn't just a single unit, but a group of different parts that perform tasks. When one part of your brain is engaged, the other parts of your brain may not have as much energy to handle their own vital tasks. If you're in a dangerous or emotionally taxing situation, the amygdala, which is part of your brain that governs our survival techniques, may take over. This leaving the parts of your brain that help to store memories and perform higher order tasks with less energy and ability to get their own jobs done. So basically, our memory has a certain capacity, and when we're stressed, that capacity is taken up. So part of our brain is taken up, which leaves less room for important things like our memory. Dr. Ressler is known as saying the basic idea is that the brain is shunting its resources because it's in survival mode, not memory mode. This is why you might be more forgetful when you are under stress, or may even experience memory lapses during traumatic events. So I want to lead us in an example of a mindfulness exercise, just a few short minute or two. And this is an example of what we'll be doing in our group. I'm pretty sure we're all seated. So begin by bringing your attention to your body. Sit up straight, and you can close your eyes if that's comfortable to you. Notice your body seated wherever you're seated, feeling the weight of your body on the chair and your feet on the floor. Take a few deep breaths. As you take a deep breath, bring in more oxygen, enlivening the body. And as you exhale, have a sense of relaxing more deeply. You can notice your feet on the floor. Notice the sensations of your feet touching the floor, the weight and pressure, vibration and heat. Next, notice your legs against the chair, the pressure, the heaviness, possibly the lightness. Now notice the back against your chair. Next, bring your attention into your stomach area. If your stomach is tense or tight, let it soften. Now take a breath. And notice your hands. Are your hands tense or tight? See if you can allow them to soften. Notice your arms. Feel any sensation in your arms. Now let your shoulders be soft. Notice your neck, your throat. Let them be soft. Relax. Now bring attention to your jaw. Soften your jaw. Let your face and facial muscles be soft. Then notice your whole present body. Take a breath. Be aware of your whole body as best as you can. Take one more breath. And when you are ready, you can open your eyes. Thank you. And I will turn it back over to Martha to see how we think joining ThinkFit would be able to help you.
Well, thank you for that. Now I might be too relaxed to continue, but I'll power through. So overall, we've talked about the components of the ThinkFit program, and ideally this program will benefit you and help you increase your memory confidence. I think that's one of the most important things that we can do for each other is help increase that confidence that we have in ourselves. It will strengthen you both physically and cognitively, and you'll work on learning techniques to reduce stress and worry. You'll gain the supportive community of your cohort while learning practical tips to increase recall memory. So if you're listening to this and thinking that this might be a good fit for you or somebody that you love, the next steps to enroll, one thing is I encourage everybody to look at our website, the seniorconcerns.org, and then there's a tab for the ThinkFit program. And there's a lot of great information there. And if you scroll down on the page, you can even download a sheet that does give you some of the studies and evidence behind our components of the program, so you can understand why we put it together in this way. And then the next step is to talk to Hannah and schedule that one-on-one assessment consultation over Zoom, and so that you can see if it really would be the best fit for you before you take the leap and sign up in our program. We are hoping to start our first group the first week in December. So this is your chance, if you're thinking about it, to get in and get started with us quickly. I just wanted to give a brief overview on the Senior Concerns core programs in case you're not that familiar with us, because besides ThinkFit, we have a lot of wonderful programs and services to support our community. We offer a caregiver support center. We have a full-time social worker who just works with people that are caring for aging loved ones. She runs caregiver support groups and also can provide one-on-one consultation to you at no charge. Normally, we run the adult daycare program for people with a more severe cognitive or physical impairment. The in-person program is paused right now, but Hannah is leading for that group a couple of Zoom activities a week. So if somebody is wanting to join and see what that's all about, you're welcome to give us a call. We do the Meals on Wheels program for Thousand Oaks and Newbury Park. We have pro bono legal and financial service consultations as well. And we have senior advocates who can answer resource questions, benefits, Medicare, Social Security, all of that. We're here for you. We have our caregiver support groups. We have a great seminar series. You can go on our website and view all of our recorded past seminars, as well as sign up for our future ones. Our next one will be December 3rd, and it is on avoiding scams, because there are so many scams, even specifically targeting seniors these days. And then during the pandemic, we started some new services. We have volunteers that can grocery shop for seniors, and we also have a food pantry for emergency food and household supplies. Think Fit, hopefully you know all about now. And then we have a new in-home geriatric assessment program, where a social worker can go do a full evaluation in the home and provide a written report with recommendations to the family. So that is our overview today. We've got our contact information up here. And if anybody has any questions, we're happy to answer them, or you can reach out to us directly. So I don't see any questions at the moment. So I will just thank you all for joining us today. And please reach out, give us a call if you want some more information or if you're thinking about signing up with us. So thank you all and have a great rest of the day.
Thank you so much.